I am Dave Henning with the Fresh Start Podcast, fresh ideas for business and personal growth. And today I'm very excited to have with me a very special guest, Joyce Fields. Born in Detroit, Michigan, Joyce is retired as an executive assistant. She now resides in the Arcadia, California area. Started her career as a stenographer at a major utility company. They have celebrated 53 years of marriage with her husband on June 30th of last year. Two grown sons, eight grandchildren, four great grandchildren, and they've been together now for more than 63 years. That is wonderful. Joyce, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. And I have to correct that little blurb there because it's 64 years of togetherness now and 54 years of marriage. We just celebrated our 54th wedding anniversary on June 3rd.
That is fantastic. Congratulations on that. So I was just 1 year off.
Yeah, that's right. But that was because of my blurb I sent you. That was my fault.
And you have written a bunch of books. I write books that inspire people on their journey to make the world a better place. I love that. And we'll talk about this in a minute, but they can find your books on goodshortbooks.com. And so when and why, Joyce, actually did you write your very first book? Tell me about that.
Well, that's an exciting story, Dave. So 1997, I wrote my first book, and it's entitled Line of Serenity. I am the oldest of seven. I'm 77 years old. I have two sisters, and I had four brothers. Sadly, my oldest brother passed away in 2013. He had lung cancer. So, but in 1997, when I wrote the book, our parents did such an amazing job of raising us. We still talk about the way they raised us, even to this very day. And so I wanted to document the way that they raised us so that future generations of our family would know how they did it. And so I wrote the manuscript and had some people, friends and family, read it. And they said, you should publish this. So I self-published. And but at the time, when I had finished the manuscript, I didn't know what to call it. And like I said, my husband and I have been together for 64 years. So my youngest sister, he has known her all her life, just about. And so I wanted to document the way that we were raised. And we all adore each other. There's never been any sibling rivalry in our family, never. And so I had finished the manuscript, and my husband read it, and he said, all of y'all have that line of serenity running through you. And a light bulb went on, and I said, that's going to be the name of the book, Line of Serenity. And the first 20 pages, he describes what he sees as this line of serenity in each one of us. He adored my parents. He starts with my mother, then my father, and then all of us, the seven of us. And he describes what he sees as this line of serenity in each one of us. And then I go on to write tell the story.
That is a great title. Now that you've described how that came about, I can picture that. It's kind of like that heredity thread that runs right through generations. That line, that is something to pass on to your kids and grandkids and great grandkids. But you've been together since you were 13 years old. That is amazing.
It blows my mind, Dave.
And here you are. This is wonderful. So what inspires you to write, Joyce?
Just living life and observing, that's what inspires me to write. I wrote Line of Serenity in 1997. And let's see, 2003, I wrote Mother's Dozen, an easy recipe for raising great kids. In 2008, I wrote The Best Way to Keep a Man is to Let Him Go, among other things. I consider myself a relationship expert. In 2009, I wrote The Vision, telling kids that they can make the world a better place. In 2009, I also wrote Jet Black and Her 7 Friends. That's a fairy tale. When I was growing up, there were no fairy tales about little black girls. So I wrote this one in 2009. It's 28 pages, full color, hand illustrated. And the way that one came about is because of bullying. And so I was working with one of my coworkers, Alice Malloy Chang. She said that I was talking to her one day about the book. And she told me, I have always wanted to illustrate a children's book. And it just absolutely floored me. It's like God works in such mysterious ways. It's just amazing to me. And so I gave her a couple of pages, and she actually made Jet Black come to life. It's just the way I pictured her. So it was just a perfect fit. So that was in 2009, I wrote Jet Black and Her 7 Friends. In 2011, I wrote Dear Bully, a collection of poems about bullying. And I wrote that one as a result of kids committing suicide because of bullying. There's a word. It's just tragic.
It's so different nowadays because of social media and Facebook.
Yes.
People can be anonymous bullies, which is really bad. I mean, of course, when I was going to high school, you kind of knew who the bullies were, and you could come face to face with them and hopefully deal with it. For some reason, I always had it in my heart in high school, even to support the kids that were not appreciated or were looked down on.
Yes.
I interviewed a gentleman that had severe dyslexia, and because of that, he was made fun of for many years, and now he's an older person. But now, as you say, the ramifications of it is horrible, and kids are facing that every day. So I'm so grateful for you bringing that to the surface. So what number book are we on now?
Okay, we got, let's see, that was Dear Bully. We got 3 more. In 2013, I wrote My Simple Quotes to Live By. And it's 167 quotes that I coined. One of them in the book was chosen out of over 5,000 entries for a 2013 calendar. And that quote states, I post it on social media regularly, Dave, so that I can encourage people. That quote states, it's better to die chasing a dream never caught than to die never having chased the dream. There are so many people who will crush your dreams out there. And so don't allow that to happen to you. Chase your dreams. God gave everybody dreams and talents and abilities, all of that. So you got to find what it is, where yours is, and chase it. Don't die not having chased it. Then in 2014,
I love that. That's wonderful. Chase your dreams.
Yes, chase your dreams. In 2014, I wrote A Breast Cancer Journey to Greater Joy, taking the fear and mystery out of a breast cancer diagnosis. It's a long title, but I wanted to include what my goal was, to take the fear and mystery out of a breast cancer diagnosis. There's nothing to be really, truly scared of.
And you are a survivor. You said what now, 10 years?
It'll be 10 years on August 11th. Then on November 11th, I will have had 10 years since my last radiation treatment. My last radiation treatment was on 11/11/11 at 11 a.m.
That's amazing.
That's a lot. That's a lot of ones.
That's amazing.
Yes. And so I have been cancer free. I did not have chemo. I just had the surgery, and I have never been so happy to go under the knife. I've only been under the knife, well, a couple of times because I had a cesarean when I had my baby. Sure. But I was looking forward to surgery. I felt like I had been invaded by an alien, which I literally was.
Right. Wow. That's a powerful book, I'll bet, right?
Yeah, it is. I'm going to see if I can find the review that a lady put on there. She wasn't breast cancer, but she said that whatever trauma you're going through, this book will ease you. Awesome. Yes. So I'm going to see if I can find it for you before we get off. Then my last book I wrote in 2015, and it is entitled The Limitless Golden Rule, 21 Ways to Use the Golden Rule in Your Life. Oh my goodness. What a concept. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I've heard another version of that. Do unto others as they would like to be done unto, which is just kind of a little twist in it, meaning that you are paying attention to someone else's needs and wants and desires and aspirations, so that it's a little bit of a twist on it. Do unto others as they would like to be done unto, which is just a way of appreciating other people. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. But I prefer the traditional one. Oh, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But now I had written the book, and my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, she's 39 now. She said, "Grandma, what's the golden rule?" We lived it, but I never vocalized it. And so I had to go back in and revise it, and I put the actual golden rule on maybe like the third page after the copyright page, the title page, and all of that. I actually put the golden rule in there. It's a page by itself. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that is it's very powerful. If you live it and practice it, it actually sounds to me, Joyce, like it also is a thread that goes back to that line of serenity we were just talking about. Yes, it does, Dave. And it's really funny that you say that, because my husband was just talking to me this morning. He always kind of gives me a pep talk when I'm having interviews and stuff, so. And he was talking to me this morning. He says that the goodness, and there's goodness in all of your books, the goodshortbooks.com. There is goodness in all of the line of books. I love that. I really do. So yes, the golden rule runs through all of them. Yes, absolutely. I'm curious, because I love to write, and I've gone to writing seminars and writing weekends and different things. I've always loved to write. I actually, believe it or not, in high school, I became the publisher of my own, let's call it unauthorized school newspaper. And then in college, there was a song that came out back then, Day by Day. Oh, dear Lord, 3 things I pray: to see thee more clearly, to love thee more dearly, to follow thee more nearly. So in college, I went to the president of the college. I says, look, I know this is not authorized, but is it okay with you if I write a little school newspaper independently called Day by Day? And so it was a compilation of things that other people had said. And I like the title, Day by Day. Yeah, so it comes from a Bible verse, the rest of it, but anyway, all that to say that I've been writing for years and years and years, and I think this podcast is kind of an extension of
of what I like to do, which is
Mm-hmm.
to meet interesting people, be an inspiration, and find out what other people are doing who have also written as you have. So, what's your
Mm-hmm.
favorite thing to do, Joyce, when you're not writing?
Wow, there's so much. I love to cook. I love to watch movies. I love listening to music. I love reading. There
I've
are lots
written.
of things.
I've probably read. Oh, I'm not probably. I know I've read well over 300 books, but for whatever reason now, my little scatterbrained little ADD mind, I actually enjoy audio books where I can just
Hmm.
focus more and just listen and absorb because I had to take remedial reading with all my love for writing and reading. I had to take remedial reading in college because I couldn't. I had to reread the page over and over again for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Mm-hmm.
taught me how to read entire paragraphs at the same time, which got me through all the reading I needed to do for school and seminary. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so but you like to read, and what else did you say you like to do when you're not writing?
Oh, I love to cook. I love
Oh,
to write, obviously. Uh, I watch good movies, love good movies.
yeah.
Um, and just, I like to write. So, reading, writing, cooking, sewing. I like to sew. I haven't done that in quite a while, but that's one of the hobbies that I have.
My mother was a great mom, and she lived a long, long time. My dad died very young at 49 when I was 22, but
Wow.
my mother taught me how to cook and sew and even iron. Iron.
Leslie, that's exactly what I did with my son. I taught him how to cook, how to sew a button on his shirt or whatever.
Yes.
And he had in the book, Mother's Dozen, an easy recipe for raising great kids. He had to do all of the work around the house when he's 10 years old. He had to 12, at 12. He had to shovel the snow, and we had a corner lot
Mm.
in the wintertime, cut the grass in the summertime, vacuum, sweep, mop, do everything in the house. I helped him. But my whole thing was this: when you're not bringing money into the home, you must do the physical work that is required to maintain the home. You must do a big share of that. So when he started working, I took $20 out of every 100. So he had to pay rent. So you have to teach children responsibility.
Absolutely.
So I taught him how to, when he was 10, he was washing and ironing his own clothes. He was doing all the stuff. So you have to teach them responsibility. And to this day, I'm very, very proud of him. I admire my own child.
That is awesome. Yeah, I'm very grateful for both my parents. You reminded me, however, of if you know who John and Charles Wesley were, the Wesley brothers, the founder of the Methodist Church years ago,
No, never heard of him.
centuries ago. Charles Wesley wrote about 1,000 hymns that are in the old hymn books, but he was the 15th and 16th child of Susanna Wesley. And if you go on YouTube or Google it, you can find her rules of discipline for her 16 kids.
Wow.
Which you were mirroring that in some of the things you described and how you raised
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
son. So, so let me ask you this: what's your favorite thing to cook? What do you like to cook? I'd like to cook.
Wow. Well, today we're having fried catfish with sauteed onions and potatoes,
Ooh,
and then
ooh,
some
ooh!
green beans,
I'll be
So
right
that's,
over.
I'm cooking that today. So yesterday we had leftover, I made a big pot of chicken soup,
Ooh,
homemade chicken soup, and it's delicious. So I like to cook. I have a large repertoire of stuff that I cook.
it's funny that
My
you
what?
say that because it's Tuesday, is it not? It's still Tuesday, And
Yes.
we used to do, actually, believe it or not, Tuesday night was catfish and coleslaw night at our house. So that
Wow.
was, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I love good catfish. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm having catfish today.
You are.
I'm
You
looking forward
absolutely
to it
are.
too.
That
Yeah,
is awesome. So what you were saying about your son shoveling snow, I had to think. Wait a minute, there's no snow in California, but you were in Detroit, and I grew up.
that's right.
I grew up on the other side of Lake Erie in Rochester, New York, where we had all that lake effect snow. Which, when you're a kid, that's a lot of fun, but it's not so fun when you're an adult.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So this is kind of this is not on your list of questions to ask. So you were in Detroit, and you grew up in Detroit, did you?
Yes. We
And
moved
so,
out here to California maybe like 17 years ago.
okay, so did you like Motown?
Never went there until I was until I moved out here, and my granddaughter visited Detroit from Georgia, and we went back to Detroit, and then
Yeah.
we went to Motown. I never went, but you know what, Dave? We lived about 2 blocks from it. But
Oh
see,
my goodness.
you got to remember, see, we grew up in the time when the boys would stand on the corner doing doo-wop.
Oh yes.
We didn't have to have Motown. We had it around the corner, but the boys in the neighborhood were under the street lights doing doo-wop. Oh,
Well, you can tell I love music, and I love doo-wop, and I love
yes,
all that music
yes.
is just influence, quite frankly, influence the entire world. And even all those rock and roll bands from Britain will tell you that that's some of the people that they loved
Mm-hmm.
and influenced them for all this wonderful music. And so you need to write another book about the power of music and how it can
Well,
calm the sadness.
I will write that one when the spirit moves me.
Right.
In the
Yeah, yeah.
meantime, I want to tell you about Mother's Dozen. My whole premise is we are all a result of the way we were raised. So this book helps us, guides us into raising less damaged children. Everybody is damaged to one extent or another. So it's going to be on a scale of maybe like 1 to 10. Some people are a 1 or 2 or 3, you can go all the way up to a 10. Those are off the charts. So the foreword was written by a Reverend C.L. Murray, he's a retired minister of Fame Church, one of the biggest churches in LA. When I finished the manuscript, I sent it off to him to read and possibly consider writing the foreword. He wrote this amazing foreword. It's brief. Mother's Dozen is a handbook of excellence in raising children. It systematizes the rules passed from generation to generation regarding preparing children for the world to come. It involves tough love. It encompasses touchy-feely. It establishes fences that keep the wolf out and the sheep safe. It is common sense, the most uncommon thing in the world, particularly in this present age of negative imaging and self-raised rugrats. The quest is not for something new, but for something substantial. It is here. Every line brings an aha experience. The head nods yes, the will prods action. Well done, well done. Reverend Cecil L. Chip Murray, First AME Church, Los Angeles, retired. That's the foreword.
I love that, and I have a little secret I need to tell you about that.
What?
I have a little secret about him that I wanted to tell you that you had no way of knowing. That I actually, when I saw that in that foreword of your book, I went on YouTube and watched several of his videos on YouTube, and I've heard some of his preaching and some of the services, and it really touched my heart. Can I say that? Is it okay to say
yes.
that really touched my heart? And that book is so important today and every day.
I think so, Dave. I really think so. And the ingredients that I see, the title is Mother's Dozen, an easy recipe for raising great kids. So the recipe is the 12 ingredients. The first ingredient, start from infancy. Number 2, manners. Number 3, love for learning. Number 4, responsibility. Number 5, rules, order, and organization. Number 6, independence. Number 7, spirituality or a higher power. Number 8, affection. Number 9, discipline, self-control. Number 10, feed interest. Number 11, obedience. And number 12, patience. Those are the ingredients. Your child will be guided. You will be guided into raising a child that has all of these qualities.
Oh, yes. I think of the coach brought Shaquille O'Neal under his wing and raised him up to be a responsible adult. And he is nowadays, the common phrase is an influencer. And I think that we are all called to be influencers for righteousness and justice and for the Prince of Peace himself. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, most definitely. And if there was more of that going on, we wouldn't be all this racism and homophobia and all of this hatred would disappear.
That's right.
At least be lessened dramatically. I want to tell you what makes my son so great. This is why people really should read this book. It's only 48 pages. God blessed me with the talent for being succinct. I can say a whole lot in a few words. So this book is only 48 pages. My son, he is always mannerable. He is very polite and respectful, especially with his elders. He loves to learn and experiments with new approaches in order to learn more. He is a responsible person and does not expect others to pay for his mistakes or wrong choices. He suffers negative consequences with dignity. He consciously lives his life with rules, order, and organization, thereby minimizing tension, stress, anger, conflict, and confusion. He is independent and seldom borrows or asks for assistance. He is exceedingly spiritual with a powerful belief in God. He regularly vocalizes his awareness of and thankfulness for his many blessings. He enjoys giving and receiving hugs and kisses. He usually takes care of must before shoulds, needs before wants, and business before pleasure. He demonstrates that he can effectively follow rules and instructions when appropriate. He is patient, seldom loses his temper, and uses time wisely. And the last one, he has a truckload of family members and friends who love, admire, and respect him and often seek his opinion or point of view. That includes me.
Oh, man, that's powerful.
I admire my son. He's 51 years old, and the way that I raised him, I have documented it in this book, because when I was coming up, it says, I'm very grateful to all the excellent teachers I had, especially my mother, my aunts, and other female relatives, friends, and neighbors. I was born at a time, 1944, when raising children seemed to be the most important responsibility females had. Their homes were run with rules, order, and organization. They had strong, sound philosophies that taught children to love, honor, and respect themselves, thereby teaching the children to love, honor, and respect others. And then it goes on. This is the introduction. So I was raised when females, that was the most important thing they had to do, was raise their children. And I learned.
Well, I am so grateful for my two grown daughters. They've each got 3 kids back in North Carolina because, wow, I'm so blessed that they were raised in this same type of way you're talking about, and they're living that life of serving God and serving others. And those two things go hand in hand, right?
Yes. Now, my son has read the Quran and the Bible a couple of times. Yeah. He's not into religion, but he's into a higher power.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted. I didn't make him go to church. So I wanted him to choose his own path in the religious sense. If he wanted to be religious, that's fine. If he didn't, that's fine too, as long as he's respectful to everybody.
Well, and it's all about a relationship. Relationship for me, it's a relationship with personally with Jesus Christ, who changed my life dramatically many years ago.
Hmm.
And but you're right, it's a choice, and the kids got to make their own choices. So
Yes, I don't believe in steering children into any kind of religion. So if that's what your religion is, don't do that to the child. Let them choose for themselves.
so boy, time has gotten away from us, and I did want to reiterate that people can find your books on Amazon, but also at goodshortbooks.com. Is that right?
Dave, at goodshortbooks.com, they'll see all 11 books on that website. If you go to Amazon, you have to know the title of the book.
Okay. Yes,
So,
I have that website pulled up right now, and
yeah.
goodshortbooks.com. It's been a delight to be with you today, but I did want to ask you, like I ask every guest, because this is just kind of a fun question. And everybody I've asked, that people that have been very successful people around the world, but they have very interesting stories when I ask them, what was your very first job ever when you were a child or a teenager? Did you work somewhere in
Oh
particular?
yeah, I was a stenographer at Detroit Edison.
Right, right. That's right.
I was 18 years old.
18. Oh my goodness.
Hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
And
I was a stenographer, and that's a dead profession now, but it really served me well.
oh, I know what you're saying. You know, for some odd reason, who would know? And I needed one extra credit in high school. And I thought, I'm going to take typing. And and it's really funny because I can actually type very fast. But who would have known back then that we'd have computers with keyboards and you're basically typing? So
Yes,
so
yes, yeah.
that little skill came in pretty
I'm
handy.
sure it did. Yeah, and that really comes in handy when I write. I think goes to my fingers, goes to the screen.
You remind me of, I didn't really know the entire background of a gentleman who served in Egypt during World War One named Oswald Chambers, and he died young over there of appendicitis because he didn't want to take up a hospital bed with the soldiers that were coming in from the war. But his wife was a stenographer, and she could write so fast that after he passed away young, she transcribed all of his amazing messages
Mm.
into this classic book called My Utmost for His Highest. And I read it every
Oh
morning
wow.
myself, between reading my Bible and reading My Utmost for His Highest. It's a classic old book that's been around for decades, but he was so concise, like you are in your writing, that he always, every day, he has something to say 365 days of the year. And so
Hmm.
I would encourage you to check it out if you haven't. But Joyce, it has been a delight to be with you today. Thank you so much for
Oh,
being.
my pleasure, Dave. Thank you for
This
the
is Dave Henning.
opportunity.
I'm on the Fresh Start podcast, fresh ideas for business and personal growth. Joyce, thank you again. Thank you so much.
Goodshortbooks.com.